You want to fall asleep. I really do. I really do. Call me crazy, but I think you do. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. We've got our head picked up, we are not asleep. No way, no, no, no. I know. You could be asleep though. You really could. If you wanted, no one would stop you. Sitting out in the yard. Oh, that's exciting. She is so strong, it's wild. Her head lifting is out of control. It's out of control. But you could sleep. Yes, you could sleep. She's like, I enjoy awake, I know, right? But it is a good time for you to sleep. You've been awake for over an hour now. You could sleep. Hey, Ray. You guys, I can't wait to show you guys the things that Ray's kids sent me. They're so funny. Does she like tummy time? She does. She does like tummy time. Isn't that great? We're so lucky. Oh, I'm making a mess. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Can mommy clean up her mess is the question. Bless you. Bless you, my angel. Yeah, she does really well with tummy time. Her dad's been doing it with her all week while I've been working, but they've been having a grand time with tummy. Morning, friend. Quick in and out. I have a cookie dip. Oh, cookie book. Do you like how I couldn't say that? Cookie booth duty. Cookie booth duty. Sasha can speak English. That's cool. Lucky me. Let's get our milk. Good morning, Gigi. We haven't seen you in book club in a minute. How are you? We miss you. Are you feeling well? I hope you are. I'm really trying, Bridget. I don't know if I'd say I'm good at it, but I'm definitely trying. Definitely trying. I had to get, I have to be somewhat good at it. So the problem was, yesterday we tried to read either chapter 4 or 5, but had to go halfway through because there was an alarm and it was driving us nuts. So today I think we're reading the second half of 4 and all of 5, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we're mid-4, but we're gonna finish through 5 today, right? Where does one purchase Fairlife? I just got it at Target. Yeah. I get all my milks at Target because it's easy. She is getting so big. She's almost 11 pounds now, if you can believe that. It is easy, right? Yeah, there's Target everywhere where we live, and you as well. I'm on 5 now, so oh good, you're right in the right sweet spot. We haven't started 5 yet, but we are starting it today. You get it at Walmart, yeah, Target, Walmart, whatever. Whichever. Oh, well, there you go. Go to that Target, yeah. Good morning. I can finally... That's exciting, Christina. You just saw it's Hunger Games. It is. It's Hunger Games. We're on chapter 4 and 5 today. Halfway through 4 because yesterday was a disaster with an alarm that was going off outside and we couldn't get it to stop. And it wasn't in our building. It was in another building, but it was so loud we just couldn't read through it. We were just all like mentally fried from the sound of it. So yeah, we're still at the beginning of Hunger Games. She's still on the train. She hasn't even gotten to the Capitol yet. I need to get out of bed, but my dog decided to cuddle. Oh, well, then cuddle at book club. I missed live club training. Oh, yeah, that's not great. Well, we're happy to have you back, Amanda. We don't love a training. My Starbucks name is Cat is 17. That's funny. So when they call your name, it's like they've called the trivia. That's funny. I like that. It's close to your name. I've seen all the Hunger Games movies. Yeah, the movies, I mean, I have to say, the movies are pretty good as far as book adaptations go. They really are quite good. But I'm always a fan of, well, you know what, I can't say always. I'm mostly a fan of books first. My friend May joined. She got excited when she learned, oh, that's exciting. Hey, Roxy. Yeah, your friends are always welcome to join. Yeah. She's like, don't make fun of me, Mom. I know, she's so big. I read Harry Potter books before the movie. Yeah, I did that as well. I always try to do that. Good morning, Roxy. Morning, Sloth. You could sleep though. You could sleep. You could sleep. You could sleep, 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 sleep. It does. The milk is good. I agree, Danielle, on all fronts. It's always a pleasant shock when the movie's better than the books. It doesn't happen often. It's so, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's ever been one. Do we drink the same coffee? We do. Cam is scandalized. Is she really mocking Secret Baby? Cam, listen here, buddy. I gotta tell you, when you have your own kid, you'll realize that especially when they're this age, a little bit of mocking goes a long way. Would I ever mock her once she speaks English? No. Because I don't want her to feel that she's being mocked. But as long as I use the right tone, she has no idea what I'm saying. So that's a win for her right now. Because I can say, you like to keep mommy up all night being a loud little monkey, huh? And she doesn't know. She just thinks mommy's making nice voices at her. But I won't tell her that when she's older. It's true, though. She did keep me up a lot last night. She's feeling better, and I know she's feeling better. She doesn't have a cold anymore, and so she's back to making her normal goat sounds in the night. So, you know how people say, there's this like weird phrase that people say like, oh, I slept like a baby. I don't know what they're talking about because mimicry is excellent communication. It's true, it is. It's fun doing that with dogs too. Yeah, my sister does it to her dog, but she goes like insane. She'll like look at him and she'll like, you're so cute, but if you do that again, we're gonna skin you and turn you into a rug. Obviously she's never going to, but she gets her aggression out by saying it that way. My sister's dog, although one of the sweetest animals on the planet, has a food problem. I sleep like a teenager. There you go. That's better. I slept like a teenager is the real phrase. That's what I want. I want to sleep like a teenager. My husband tells me when he was a teenager, he could even sleep through classes because he was so tired all the time, probably from growing because he's tall. And I wish I had that. I don't know what that's like. I really don't. Should we try to fall asleep? Should we try? What's on your eyelash? Should we try to fall asleep? What do you think? There's a little bit of spitty up me. Should we get a burp cloth? Hold on. I'm gonna grab a burp cloth real quick to put between her and I, and I'll come back and grab you guys. Okay, I slept through every history class I ever took. Really? Really? I've never slept in a class. I wish that among some of those classes that I could have slept through them, but I did not. I was not a sleep in class kind of person. Look at this little hand. How cute is this hand with her knuckle chub? Are you guys obsessed with knuckle chub? I love knuckle chub. It's like one of the greatest things in the world to me, this little knuckle chub. Okay, so we're gonna sit down and we're gonna reach for this book. Desk naps were the best. Okay, you guys had some kind of skills that I definitely don't/didn't have. Okay, I know you're feeling particularly grumbly this morning. Particularly grumbly. Do you want to rock, do you think? Do you want to rock or do you want the bouncer? You want to be in your bouncer? Is that what you prefer? I can take you out and let you be in the bouncer. I know, I love the rolls. All right, if you want to be in the bouncer, we can be in the bouncer. I just thought maybe you'd want to sleep. But out we go. Look at this little koala butt. How cute. I know knuckle dimples are the sweetest. Look at this little get up that we have going on here today. This is the outfit of the day and it's pretty stinking cute. Boop. Yeah, it is. Okay. There we go. Are you all settled in? There's just a little bit of spit up, huh? Just a little spitty uppy? How are you feeling other than that? You okay in your little bouncy? You look happy. You look sleepy. You look very tired, my darling. I don't know why you don't want to just give in and sleep on mommy, because that's your favorite place to sleep usually. It didn't last too long, but it was long enough that it would have been, oh, look, this is cute. Look at how cute I am. Long enough for it to be annoying for book club. Yeah. All right, so let's finish yesterday's chapter and then we will finish, then we'll go to chapter 5 because that noise was just too much. We couldn't read past it. So here we go. Imagining my home makes me ache with loneliness. This day has been endless. Could Gail and I have been eating blackberries only this morning? It seems like a lifetime ago, like a long life that deteriorated into a nightmare. Maybe if I go to sleep, I'll wake up back in District 12, where I belong. Probably the drawers hold any number of nightgowns, but oh, we already read that. I just realized we read that. Okay, sorry. Okay. As I enter the dining car, Effie Trinket brushes by me with a cup of black coffee. She's muttering obscenities under her breath, and Hamish, his face red and puffy from the previous day's indulgences, is chuckling. Peeta holds a roll and looks somewhat embarrassed. Sit down, says Hamish, waving me over. The moment I slide into my chair, I'm served an enormous platter of food. Eggs, ham, piles of fried potatoes. Hey. What's that? What's that sound? You need ups? Hey. What's that sound? What was that sound? What was that sound? You just want to be on mommy this way? Okay. A pile of fried potatoes. A tureen of fruit sits in ice to keep it chilled. A basket of rolls that they set before me would keep a family going for weeks. There's an elegant glass of orange juice, at least I think it's orange juice. I've only ever tasted orange juice once at New Year's when my father bought us a special treat. There's a cup of coffee. My mother adores coffee, which we could almost never afford, but it only tastes bitter and thin to me. A rich brown cup of something here I've never seen. They call it hot chocolate, says Peeta. It's good. I take a sip of the hot, sweet, creamy liquid and a shudder runs through me. Even though the rest of the meal beckons, I ignore it until I've drained my cup. And then I stuff down every mouthful I can hold, which is a substantial amount, being careful not to overdo it with the richest stuff. One time, my mother told me that I always eat like I'll never see food again. And I said, I won't see food again unless I bring it home. And that shut her up. When my stomach feels like it's about to split open, I lean back and I take in my breakfast companions. Peeta's still eating, taking bits off of a roll and dipping them into the hot chocolate. Hamish hasn't paid much attention to his platter, but he's knocking back a glass of red juice that he keeps thinning with a clear liquid from a bottle. Judging by the fumes, that's some kind of spirit. I don't know Hamish, but I've seen him often enough in the Hob, tossing handfuls of money on the counter of the woman who sells white liquor. He'll be incoherent by the time we reach the capital. I realize I detest Hamish. No wonder District 12 tributes never stand a chance. It isn't just that we've been underfed and lack training. Some of our tributes have still been strong enough to make a go of it, but we rarely ever get sponsors, and he's a big part of the reason why. The rich people who back the tributes, either because they're betting on them or simply for bragging rights of picking the winner, expect someone classier than Hamish to deal with. So, you're supposed to give us advice, I say to Hamish.
Here's some advice. Stay alive,
says Hamish, and then he bursts out laughing. I exchange a look with Peeta before I remember that I'm having nothing more to do with him. I'm surprised to see the hardness in his eyes. He generally seems so mild.
That's very funny,
says Peeta, and suddenly he lashes out at the glass in Hamish's hand, and it shatters on the floor. It sends the blood-red liquid running toward the back of the train.
Only it's not funny to us.
Hamish considers this for a moment, and then he punches Peeta in the jaw, knocking him from his chair. And when he turns back to reach for the spirits, I drive my knife into the table between his hands, between his hand and the bottle, barely missing his fingers, and I brace myself to deflect his hit, but it doesn't come. Instead, he sits back and he just squints at us.
Well, what is this? Says Hamish. Did I actually get a pair of fighters this year?
Peeta rises from the floor and scoops up a handful of ice from under the fruit tureen. He starts to raise it to the red mark on his jaw.
No, says Hamish, stopping him. Let the bruise show. The audience will think you've mixed up with another tribute before you've even made it to the arena.
That's against the rules, said Peeta.
Only if they catch you. That bruise will say you fought and you weren't caught. Even better, says Hamish, and he turns to me. Can you hit anything with that knife besides the table?
The bow and arrow is my weapon, but I've spent a fair amount of time throwing knives as well. Sometimes, if I've wounded an animal with an arrow, it's better to get a knife into it before I approach it. I realize that if I want Hamish's attention, this is my moment to make an impression, so I yank the knife out of the table and get a grip on the blade and throw it to the wall across the room. I was actually hoping that I would get a good solid stick, but it lodges between the seam and two panels, making me look a lot better at it than I actually am.
Stand over here, both of you, says Hamish, nodding to the middle of the room.
We obey, and he circles us, prodding us like animals at times, checking our muscles, examining our faces.
Well, you're not entirely hopeless. You seem fit, and once the stylists get a hold of you, you'll be attractive enough.
Peeta and I don't question this. The Hunger Games aren't a beauty contest, but the best-looking tributes always seem to pull more sponsors.
All right, I'll make a deal with you. You don't interfere with my drinking, and I'll stay sober enough to help you, says Hamish. But you have to do exactly what I say.
It's not much of a deal, but it's a giant step forward from 10 minutes ago when we had no guide at all.
Fine, says Peeta.
All right, so help us, I say. When we get to the arena, what's the best strategy at the cornucopia for someone?
One thing at a time. In a few minutes, we'll be pulling into the station, and you'll be put in the hand of your stylist. You're not going to like what they tell you to do, but no matter what it is, don't resist, says Hamish.
But I begin.
No buts. Don't resist,
says Hamish, and he takes the bottle of spirits from the table and leaves the car. As the door swings shut behind him, the car door goes dark. There are still a few lights inside, but outside it's as if night has fallen again, and we realize we must be in the tunnel that runs through the mountains into the capital. The mountains form a natural barrier between the capital and the eastern districts. It's almost impossible to enter from the east except through the tunnels. This geographical advantage was always a major factor in the districts losing the war that led to my being a tribute today. Since the rebels had to scale the mountains, they were easy targets for the capital's air forces. Peeta Mellark and I stand in silence as the train speeds along and the tunnel goes on and on and on, and I think of the tons of rock separating me from the sky, and my chest tightens. I hate being encased in stone this way. It reminds me of the mines and my father and being trapped and unable to see sunlight and buried forever in the darkness. The train finally begins to slow, and suddenly a bright light floods the compartment. We can't help it. Both Peeta and I run to the window to see what we've only seen on television, the capital, the ruling city of Panem. The cameras haven't lied about its grandeur. If anything, it's not quite captured the magnificence
of the glistening buildings in a rainbow of hues that tower into the air, the shiny cars that roll down the wide paved streets, the oddly dressed people with bizarre hair and painted faces, people who have never missed a meal. All the colors seem artificial, the pinks too deep, the greens too bright, the yellows too painful to the eyes, like the flat, round discs of a hard candy we could never afford to buy in the tiny sweet shop of District 12. The people begin to point at us and eagerly as they recognize the tribute team rolling into the city. I step away from the window, sickened by their excitement, knowing that they can't wait to watch us die. But Peter holds his ground, actually waving and smiling and gawking at the crowd. He only stops when the train pulls into the station, blocking us from their view. He sees me staring at him and he shrugs. "Who knows?" he says. "One of those might be rich." I might have misjudged him, thinking that his actions since the reaping began, the friendly squeeze of my hand, his father showing up with the cookies promising to feed Prim, did Peter put him up to that? His tears at the station, volunteering to wash Hamish, but then challenging him this morning when the apparent nice guy approach had failed, and now waving at the window, already trying to win over the crowd? All the pieces are starting to fit together, but I sense that he's forming a plan. He hasn't stopped and accepted his death. He's already fighting hard to stay alive, which means that kind Peter Malark, the boy who gave me that bread, is fighting hard to kill me. Whoa. I mean, she's probably right, but, you know. Well. I know. Alright, I'm just going to reposition her slightly so that my arm doesn't fall asleep holding this nugget, who is almost 11 pounds, and now we will read chapter 5. We ready for chapter 5, you guys? Rip! I grip my teeth as Venia, a woman with aqua hair and gold tattoos above her eyebrows, yanks a strip of fabric from my leg, tearing out the hair beneath it. "Sorry," she pipes in her silly capital accent. "You're just so hairy." Why do these people speak in such a high pitch? Why do their jaws barely open when they talk? Why do the ends of their sentences go up as if they're asking a question? Odd vowels, clipped words, they always hiss on the letter S. No wonder it's impossible not to mimic them. Venia makes what's supposed to be a sympathetic face. "Good news, though. This is the last one. Ready?" I get the grip on the edge of the table that I'm seated on, and I nod. The final swath of my leg is uprooted in a painful jerk. I've been in the remake center for almost 3 hours, and I still haven't met my stylist. Apparently, he has no interest in seeing me until Venia and the other members of my prep team have addressed some obvious problems. This has included scrubbing down my body with a gritty foam that has removed not only the dirt, but at least 3 layers of skin, turning my nails into uniform shapes, and primarily riveting my body of all of its hair. My legs, my arms, my torso, my underarms, and parts of my eyebrows have been stripped of the stuff and leaving me like a plucked bird ready for roasting. That's so true. I don't like it. My skin feels sore and tingly and intensely vulnerable, but I've kept my side of the bargain with Hamish, and no objection has even crossed my lips. "You're doing very well," some guy named Flavius says. He gives his orange corkscrew locks a shake and applies a fresh coat of purple lipstick to his mouth. "If there's one thing we can't stand, it's a whiner. Grease her down." Venia and Octavia, a plump woman whose entire body has been dyed a pale shade of pea green, rub me down with lotion that first stings but soothes my raw skin. They pull me from the table, removing a thin robe that I've only been allowed to wear off and on, and I stand there completely naked as the 3 circle me, wielding tweezers to remove any last bits of hair. I know I should be embarrassed, but they're so unlike people that I'm no more self-conscious than if a trio of oddly colored birds were pecking around my feet. Hey, Natasha. The 3 steps back and admire their work. "Excellent. You almost look like a human being now," says Flavius, and they all laugh. I force my lips into a smile to show how grateful I am. "Thank you," I say sweetly. "We don't have much cause to look nice in District 12. This wins them over completely. "Oh, of course you don't. You poor darling," says Octavia, clasping her hands together in distress for me. But don't worry, says Venia. By the time Cinna's through with you, you're gonna look absolutely gorgeous. Oh, we promise. You'll know nothing, but you know, now that we've gotten rid of all that hair and filth, you're not all that horrible, says Flavius encouragingly. Let's call Cinna after all. Yeah, we love Cinna. They dart out of the room. It's hard to hate my prep team. They're such total idiots, and yet, in an odd way, I know that they sincerely are trying to help me. I look at the cold white walls and the floor, resisting to the impulse to retrieve my robe, but this is Cinna, my stylist, who will surely make me remove it once again. Instead, my hands go to my hairdo, the one area of my body that the prep team has been told to leave alone. My fingers stroke the silky braids that my mother so carefully arranged. My mother. I left her blue dress and shoes on the floor of my train car, never thinking about retrieving them, of holding them to hold on to a piece of her, a piece of home. But now, I really wish I had. The door opens and a young man who must be Cinna enters. I'm taken aback by how normal he looks. Most of the stylists that they interview on television are so dyed, so stenciled, so surgically altered that they're grotesque. But Cinna's close-cropped hair appears to be a natural shade of brown. He's in a simple black shirt and pants. The only concession to self-alteration seems to be a metallic gold eyeliner that he's applied with a light hand. It brings out the fleck of gold in his green eyes. And despite my disgust with the Capitol and their hideous fashion, I can't help but think how attractive he looks. Hello, Katniss. I'm Cinna, your stylist, he says in a quiet voice that's somewhat lacking in Capitol inflections. I know, Lenny Kravitz playing him was a wild but really good decision. Hello, I venture cautiously. Just give me a moment, all right? He asks, and he walks around my naked body, not touching me, but taking in every inch of it with his eyes. I resist the impulse to cross my arms over my chest. Who did your hair? My mother, I say. Well, it's beautiful. Classic, really, and in almost perfect balance with your profile. She has very clever fingers, he says. I had expected someone flamboyant, someone older, trying desperately to look younger, someone who viewed me as a piece of meat to be prepared for a platter, but Cinna has met none of these expectations. You're new, aren't you? I don't think I've seen you before, I say. Most of the stylists are familiar to the contestants. They're in an ever-changing pool of tributes. Some have been around my whole life. Yes, this is my first year in the games, says Cinna. So they give you to District 12, I say. Newcomers generally end up with us. It's the least desirable of the districts. No, I asked for District 12, he says without further explanation. Why don't you put on your robe and we can have a chat? Pulling on my robe, I follow him through the door into the sitting room. 2 red couches face off over a low table. 3 walls are blank, and a 4th is entirely glass, providing a window to the city. I can see by the light that it must be around noon, although the sky is sunny and it's turned overcast. Cinna invites me to come sit on one of the couches and takes his place across from me. He presses a button on the side of the table. The top splits, and from below rises a second tabletop that holds our lunch. Chicken and chunks of orange cooked in a creamy sauce lay out on a bed of pearly white grain, tiny green peas and onions rolled into shape like flowers, and there, for dessert, is a pudding the color of honey. I tried to imagine assembling this meal myself back home. Chickens are too expensive, but maybe I could make do with a wild turkey. I'd need to shoot a second turkey to trade for an orange. Goat's milk would have to substitute for cream. We can grow peas in the garden. I'd have to get wild onions from the woods. I don't recognize the grain. Our own tessera rations cooks down to an unattractive brown mush. Fancy rolls would mean another trade with the baker. Maybe perhaps 1 or 2 or 3 squirrels. As for the pudding, I can't even guess what's in it. Days of hunting and gathering for this one meal alone. And even then, it would be a poor substitution for this capital version. What must it be like, I wonder, to live in a world where food appears at the press of a button? How would I spend hours I now commit to combing the woods for sustenance if I were so easy to come by food? What do they all do all day, these people in the capital, besides maybe decorating their bodies and waiting around for a new shipment of tributes to roll in and die for their entertainment? I look up and find Cinna's eyes trained on me. How despicable we must seem to you. Has he seen this in my face or somehow read my thoughts? He's right, though. The whole rotten lot of them is despicable. I will say, Anya, I would wait and let the whole book go by first before you watch the movie so that you, like, don't, have spoilers, because it's fun to not have them. All right, no matter, says Cinna. So, Katniss, about your costume for the opening ceremonies. My partner, Portia, is the stylist for your fellow tribute, Peeta, and our current thought is to dress you in complementary costumes, says Cinna. As you know, it's customary to reflect the flavor of your district. For the opening ceremonies, you're supposed to wear something that suggests your district's principal industry. District 11, agriculture. District 4, fishing. District 3, factories. That means coming from 12, Peeta and I will be in some kind of coal miner's getup. Since the baggy miner's jumpsuits are not particularly becoming, our tributes usually end up in skimpy outfits and hats with headlamps. One year, our tributes were stark naked and covered in black powder to represent coal dust. It's always dreadful, and it does nothing to win favor with the crowd. I prepare myself for the worst. So, I'll be in a coal miner's outfit? I ask, hoping I won't be indecent. No, not exactly. You see, Portia and I think that the coal miner thing is very overdone. No one will remember you in that, and we both see it as our job to make District 12 tributes unforgettable, says Cinna. I'll be naked for sure, I think. So rather than focus on coal mining itself, we're going to focus on the coal, says Cinna. Right, naked and in coal dust, I think. And what do we do with coal? We burn it, says Cinna. You're not afraid of fire, are you, Katniss? He sees my expression and then he grins. A few hours later, I'm dressed in what will either be the most sensational or most deadly costume in the open ceremony's history. I'm in a simple black unitard that covers me from ankle to neck, shiny leather boots that lace up to my knees, but it's the fluttering cape made of streams of orange and yellow and red and the matching headpiece that define this costume. Cinna plans to light them on fire just before our chariot rolls into the streets. It's not real flame, of course. It's just a little synthetic fire that Portia and I came up with. You'll be perfectly safe, he says, but I'm not convinced I won't be barbecued by the end of the time we reach the city center. My face is relatively clear of makeup, just a bit of highlighting here and there. My hair has been brushed out and then braided down my back in my usual style. I want the audience to recognize you when you're in the arena, says Cinna dreamily. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. It crosses my mind that Cinna's calm and normal demeanor masks a complete madman. Despite this morning's revelation about Peeta's character, I'm actually relieved when he shows up, dressed in an identical costume. He should know about fire, being a baker's son and all. His stylist, Portia, and her team accompany him, and everyone is absolutely giddy with excitement over what a splash will make, except for Cinna. He seems a bit weary as he offers his congratulations. We're whisked down to the bottom level of the Remake Center, which is essentially a gigantic table. The opening ceremonies are about to start. Pairs of tributes are being loaded into chariots, pulled by teams of 4 horses. Ours are coal black. The animals are so well trained that no one even needs to guide their reins. Cinna and Portia direct us directly to the chariot and carefully arrange our body positions, the drape of our capes, before moving off to consult with each other. What do you think? I whisper to Peeta. About the fire. I'll rip off your cape if you rip off mine, he says through gritted teeth. Deal, I say. Maybe if we can get them off soon enough, we'll avoid the worst burns. It's bad, though. They'll throw us into the arena no matter what condition we're in. I know we promised Haymitch that we'll do exactly what they say, but I don't think he considered this angle. Where is Haymitch, anyway? Isn't he supposed to protect us from this sort of thing? Says Peeta. With all that alcohol in him, it's probably not advisable to have him near an open flame, I say. And then suddenly we're both laughing. I guess we're both so nervous about the games, and more pressingly petrified about being turned into human torches, that we're not really acting sensibly. The opening music begins. It's easy to hear, blasted around the Capitol. Massive doors slide open, revealing crowd-lined streets. The ride lasts about 20 minutes, and it ends up in the city circle, where they welcome us, and they play the anthem, and they escort us into the training center, which will be our home/prison until the games begin. The tributes from District 1 ride out in a chariot pulled by snow-white horses. They look so beautiful, spray-painted silver in tasteful tunics glittering with jewels. District 1 makes luxury items for the capital. You can hear the roar of the crowd. They're always crowd favorites. District 2 gets into position to follow them, and in no time at all, we're approaching the door, and I can see between the overcast sky and the evening hour, the light is turning gray. The tributes from District 11 are just rolling out when Cinna appears with a lighted torch. "All right, here we go then," he says, and before we can react, he sets our capes on fire. I gasp, waiting for the heat, but there's only a faint tickling sensation, and Cinna climbs up before us and ignites our headdresses. He lets out a sigh of relief. "Oh, it works." And then he gently tucks a hand under my chin. "Remember, heads high, smiles. They're gonna love you." Cinna jumps off the chariot, and he has one last idea. He shouts something up at us, but the music drowns him out, and he shouts again in gestures. "What's he saying?" I asked Peeta, and for the first time I look at him and realize that, ablaze with fake flames, he's dazzling, and I must be too. I think he's motioning for us to hold hands," he says. He grabs my hand in his left hand, and we look to Cinna for confirmation, and he nods and gives us a thumbs up that that's the last thing we should do, and that's the last thing I see before we enter the city. The crowd's initial alarm at our appearance quickly changes to cheers and shouts of, "District 12! District 12!" Every head is turned our way, pulling the focus from the 3 chariots ahead of us, and at first I'm frozen, but then I catch sight of us on a large television screen, and I'm floored by how breathtaking we look. In the deepening twilight, the firelight illuminates our faces. We seem to be leaving a trail of fire, of flowing capes. Cinna was right about the minimal makeup. We both look more attractive, but utterly recognizable. "Remember, heads high, smiles. They're gonna love you." I hear Cinna's voice in my head. I lift my chin a bit higher, and I put on the most winning smile I have and wave my free hand. I'm glad now that I have Peeta to clutch for balance. He's so steady, rock solid, and as I gain confidence, I actually blow a few kisses to the crowd. The people of the capital are going nuts. They're showering us with flowers, shouting our names, our first names, which they've bothered to find in the program. The pounding music, the cheers, the admiration, they work their way into my blood, and I can't suppress my excitement. Cinna's giving me a great advantage. No one will forget me. Not my look, not my name. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. For the first time, I feel a flicker of hope rise up in me. Surely, there must be one sponsor who will be willing to take me on, and with a little extra help, some food, the right weapon, why should I count myself out of these games? Someone throws me a red rose. I catch it. I give it a delicate sniff, and I blow a kiss back in the general direction of the giver. Hundreds of hands reach up to catch my kiss as if it were real and a tangible thing. "Katniss! Katniss!" I can hear my name being called from all sides. Everyone wants my kisses. It's not until we reach the city circle that I realize I must have completely stopped the circulation in Peeta's hands. That's how tightly I've been holding it. I look down at our linked fingers as I loosen my grasp, but he regains his grip on me. No, don't let go of me," he says. The firelight flickers off his blue eyes. "Please, I might fall out of this thing." "Okay," I say, and so I keep holding on, but I can't help the strange feeling about the way that Cinna has linked us together. It's not really fair to present us as a team when they lock us in the arena to kill each other. The 12 chariots fill the loop of the city circle. On the buildings that surround the circle, every window is packed with the most prestigious citizens of the capital. Our horses pull our chariot right up to President Snow's mansion, and we all come to a halt. The music ends with a flourish. The president, a small, thin man with paper white hair, gives an official welcome from the balcony above us. It's tradition to cut away to the faces of the tributes during his speech, but I can see on the screen that we're getting way more than our fair share of airtime. The darker it becomes, the more difficult it is to take your eyes off our flickering. And when the national anthem plays, they do make an effort to do a quick cut around to each pair of tributes, but then the camera holds on District 12's chariot as it parades around the circle one final time, and then disappears into the training center. The doors have only just shut behind us when we're engulfed by the prep teams who are nearly unintelligible as they babble out their praise. As I glance around, I notice a lot of other tributes are shooting us dirty looks, which confirms what I suspected. We've literally outshone all of them. And then Cinna and Portia are there, helping us down from the chariot and carefully removing our flaming capes and headdresses. Portia extinguishes them with some kind of spray from a canister, and I realize I'm still glued to Peeta, and I force myself to remove my stiff fingers and open them, and we massage our hands. Thanks for keeping hold of me. I was getting a little shaky up there, says Peeta. Well, it didn't show, I tell him. I'm really sure no one noticed. I'm sure they didn't notice anything but you. You should wear flames more often, he says. They suit you. And then he gives me a smile that seems so genuinely sweet, with just the right touch of shyness. That unexpected warmth rushes through me. A warning bell goes off in my head. Don't be so stupid. Peeta's planning how he's going to kill you, I remind myself. He's luring you enough to make you his easy prey. The more likable he is, the more deadly he is. Because two can play at this game, I stand on tiptoe, and I kiss his right cheek, right on his bruise. Dum dum dum. I wonder if we can finish chapter 6. I'll have to tell Ray, but let's see how long is chapter 6. Chapter 6 goes to 85, and we're on 73. I don't think we can finish that today. So we gotta go to the farmer's market. My mom's coming. Gosh, I really want to go on. Oh, I mean, maybe we could, I don't know. We could start it. It's such a good book. I forgot how good it really was. When you said, Amanda, that you got chills, I didn't want to stop reading, but I also had chills. I just didn't want to stop. Like, I did see your comment, Amanda, when you were like, chills. But like, if I stopped, I know it would like break the moment, so I just kept going, you know what I mean? But I wanted to be like, me too, chills. Because like when they say that, when you hear the words, the girl who was on fire for the first time, it's like the first time I read the term, the boy who lived, at the end of chapter 1 of Harry Potter. Like, I know we don't like to talk about Harry Potter because she's a TERF, but like, you gotta admit, that's a banging moment, right? It reads so well. The boy who lived, she's a TERF, but like, you gotta admit, that's a banging moment, right? It reads so well. The boy who lived. I do think I have to go, unfortunately, because I think my mom is calling me to let me know that she's here, but I'm glad we finished the chapter before she called. The scene is so freaking good. I wish we had book club tomorrow. I know we don't have book club tomorrow because it's Sunday, but on Monday, maybe, Secret Husband has a lot of meetings on Monday, so maybe we'll get to read 2 chapters on Monday, but I love you all as well, and I might have a slime live later. I don't know for sure. I'll let you know in the chat, obviously, if I do, but there will be Roll for Slime videos today, at least. I know. It's your first time reading it, Amanda? Oh my gosh, no wonder you had chills. I had chills too, and I've read it before, so like, first time. Bye, Elizabella, we love you. But I know, but Sunday's our family day. It's really important. We like all hang out together, just the 3 of us, you know. All right, I will see you guys probably later, but either way, look out for those Roll for Slime videos. Bye-bye.